I've continued to be thinking about what are the ways that the great activities that we do when we're in person with young people, that we could do those online to be engaging and to share and connect. And so the one that I'm going to show today, I have talked about before, it's pinup. And so pinup is a free resource online. You do have to create an account if you're going to originate it, but then you can share it with others through the chat. So there's like a share button here. You can copy the link and then send that in the chat to other folks to participate. So it's a corkboard. It has Post-it notes. I love Post-it notes. And there's one activity I'm going to show you, but there's so many different ways I think that you could use this as your like space that you would be in. So this particular activity, shout out to Eric Oines, who led this for us in Sprockets in October of 2019. And so it's a values activity. And in this, ahead of time, I went ahead and set up my room, right? And so you make Post-its. By clicking the plus sign, a Post-it will pop up. The great thing about pinup is that they're resizable. So I was able to make, I knew we wanted a lot of different values around our room. And so made multiple of those, put the different value words on it and arranged it. They easily move. The other thing that I did ahead of time was these littler Post-its, putting each participant's name on them. They just have initials right now, but in the center were everybody's name as we got into the room. And so for this activity, you know, we would frame it up around values and what values are, and that they aren't necessarily right or wrong, and that they're very personal. But we had a series of questions that we would ask, and as we asked the question, people would move their name, Post-it, to the value. Just like if they were in the room, they would move their body to stand next to the one that most resonated for them as the answer. Knowing there's multiple of them that sometimes caused you to have to stop and think a little bit and have to make some choices. Some examples of the questions would be like, what's a quality that you most admire in a best friend? What's one thing in life that you must have? What makes you angry when it's not present? What makes you feel calm, grounded, and present? What do you want most for yourself to grow in your life? So this was one activity that really allowed us to have a really great discussion. After everyone would move their Post-its, a couple people might share. It allowed us to go a little bit deeper. And so that's one way to do it. I was also thinking right now, as we're thinking about how do we kind of have a sense if our online opportunities are making an impact, or how are people growing during these activities that we're doing. And so it could be that the Post-its around the room are different skills that your team has thought of, like these are the things that we think that we want to impact our young people with. And so you can put those skills around the room and ask similar questions. Where do they feel the strongest? Skills that they want to develop, ones that they don't find useful. You know, how do you have conversation around that? Not only to get a sense of where your young people are, but also to find out what are the dynamics of the group. Are there trends where they're all struggling in a certain area or have strengths in a certain area? When you find that there's a couple of young people that have strength in an area that other people need to grow, how do you create some leadership opportunities? So that might be another way. I was also thinking about the would you rather activities, which can be for fun, icebreakers, but also could be some really thought-provoking questions, and having like four corners or the two ends of the spectrum, all those different activities that we would normally do in spaces to have people move their bodies in different parts of the room. How do you recreate those using pinup? And so I encourage you to think about other ways that you could do those activities that you normally do. And I would really love to hear about those as well as we continue to share out these new creative ways to do what we do really well in virtual spaces.